Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another more abbreviated version of Behind Enemy Lines, the podcast, the show, whatever the hell we want to declare ourselves, where we root for not the home team. I'm joined here today by Just Cox. We're doing something a little bit different today, and we just want to kind of break up our content a little bit and see how that changes how things go for us. It also makes it more digestible for us as a unit to get people in and schedule things and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can be more consistent for you people. But before I get anything, just as a general overview of what we're doing, this is going to be news headlines and a preview of the Thursday night game that will be happening between the Bills and Rams at the time of recording tomorrow night. But it is just a one-on-one thing. I know we're used to more of a crew, but we're trying something different out. But before we get into the headlines of this week, I want to ask you, Cox, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Just getting through the week, getting ready for Thursday night football.
I am so excited. Football will finally be back, and all of us addicts out there, I know many of you people are in the same boat as us, where you're just waiting for a fix. Well, the wait is ostensibly over. We are less than 24 hours away at this point, at the time of recording, from football being back, baby. And what a hell of a matchup we have. We will get to that later. I know everybody wants to hear about what we think about the first Thursday night game of the year, but a lot of stuff happened this week in the world of football and in news. And I want to go over that first just to keep you guys updated and informed whether you've heard it or not, and to get our opinions on it as we go through everything. So the first and foremost headline today, I believe, is very relevant, especially for a burgeoning team over there in the AFC. Lamar Jackson and his contract situation. Basically, he has not signed an extension yet. He's one of the very few from that draft class who has not. And it seems like Lamar, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think from what I've read, that Lamar has set a deadline for Friday, just after the Thursday night game, Friday, to either get something done or to end talks for the season, which is a very interesting ultimatum. I like it in the sense that that means that he can focus on the upcoming season if something doesn't get done. But big burp. But it also means that that the Ravens have to move fast if they want to get something done. So I want to talk to you about it, Cox. What are your opinions on this? What are your feelings? Do you think a deal gets done? All that kind of information. What do you think?
I don't. I honestly I don't know. Um, you would like to think a deal would get done. I mean, I don't see why it's taking so long to get a deal done. I mean, sign the man. Jeez. Um, he's been great for them over the years, so I can't imagine why they don't want to just give him the money that he's looking for. He's gonna be worth it. I mean, I guess questions come up about him in the playoffs, whether he's really the guy that's going to get them over that hump. But you gotta keep going down this path, don't you think?
Oh, no, for me, absolutely. I think the only question mark they may have from a guy who is clearly labeled, whether accurately or not, depending on your perspective, somebody's clearly labeled as a running quarterback. All it takes is one big collision for that to all go downhill. We saw it in the past with Robert
Sure.
Griffin. We've seen it before. So I could maybe see the Ravens hedging their bet in that way. But, you know, off the gate in that same vein, you're talking about the 2019 NFL MVP. He's won an MVP for your franchise. He's given you continued success in what you're doing there. It seems odd to me that, I mean, I guess in my brain, it might be a differing in the way the sides are looking at things. I'm sure Lamar wants his money and he wants it guaranteed, and he probably wants something long term. But as an organization, given what I talked about with him being a running QB, whatever, one major collision, maybe they're hedging their bets. Maybe they want a shorter term deal, maybe less guaranteed money. I don't know what's going on with either side. I'm not in the negotiation room. But if I had to
Right.
say, because he's the only like premier QB without that deal going on right now, I would guess
Sure.
that those are the sticking points that they're trying to work out. That said, I think something they find a middle ground before Friday, because I feel like it would be ludicrous for Lamar Jackson to play this contract year with his future completely open. I mean, I get that they maybe want it to be a prove it year for him as an organization, but if if they don't get a deal done and he ends up killing it, then he'll have offers from what? I'd say no
Every
less than 15 teams in the league
yeah,
that could
yeah.
probably outbid the Ravens.
Oh, 100%.
So it's a huge gamble. I think Lamar's betting on himself. I think the franchise is hedging their bets based off of Lamar's style of play. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think probably they meet in the middle with something. It'll probably be something funkier than we've seen before. I think it'll be in the middle ground between the massive extension that most QBs are getting with the huge money and
Right.
and what the organization probably wants to do. I could maybe see like, a 3 or 4 year backloaded deal.
Okay, that's fair.
That's kind of where my brain's at. Um, that said, I wouldn't be shocked if like, as soon as this goes live, the bells are sounding. There's like a fucking 300 $1 million deal that happened or whatever. Like,
7 years.
yeah, it could truly go either way. But in my head, with the way it's going, I think I think they are just playing a game of chicken. I think truly the organization wants to lock up a former MVP. What organization wouldn't want to do that, especially when he's still young and in his prime? Lamar's probably trying to get as much paper as he can, and with the deals that have happened around him since he's kind of been waiting, he has a better precedent to show them.
Right.
With the extensions that we've seen. So I think it's a game of chicken. I think eventually somebody blinks and we get a solid, if not blockbuster deal. I don't think it's going to be insane. I don't think the Ravens are intending to make him the highest paid quarterback in the league by any stretch, but it'll still be a very good deal for Lamar. And I think
Right.
I think in all likelihood, to the benefit of both sides, it probably happens before Friday or on Friday. I don't
Right.
know what you think about that. I'd like to get your
No, I
thoughts.
agree because you gotta just you want to get it done before the year, so it's not hanging over the team for any part of the season, becoming like any sort of a thing. Because you want everyone to be focused on the single goal of Super Bowl, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what this team is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a contender.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to get this done, get it out of the way, so that way everyone can just focus on playing football. It's an odd game of chicken for me for them to play because at the end of the day, I don't feel like they have the leverage. So it's odd that they're, kind of just prolonging this,
Yeah. No, I mean,
hedging the bets on the years. But like, if it just seems more, if for me, more risk is on the organization, I would have just signed them already. But no, I get where they're coming from and not
yeah.
wanting to go years. Like the years, I think does matter.
Yeah.
So
No, I think the years matter. I think the money matters. Again, it's because we're talking about somebody who is such a rushing threat. And I mean
mhm,
that in the sense of like a threat on offense, but I
right,
also mean it from an organizational standpoint of a threat of your investment going up in flames with one
that's
terrible
true.
collision.
Yeah,
So
that's
he
true.
is a rushing threat all encompassing. And I mean that with
Right.
peace and
No,
love.
I get that.
I am a Lamar Jackson fan.
Yeah.
I think he's still got a lot to prove in this league. I still think he can play at an elite level. He's a very dangerous weapon for any offense. And I
Yeah.
think as an organization, regardless of your chicken game, you want to lock that up because your other options are not essentially at this point. So I do think something gets done and somebody's going to blink. I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of middle ground, but it'll probably favor Jackson at least a little bit in terms of the deal. And that's
Yeah, I
really
would
where I'm
think
at with
so.
that. Any final thoughts on
Yeah.
this before we move on?
No, no, I think we've just about covered it.
Lovely. From
Yeah.
basically the completely other side of the coin, from talking about getting a contract to continue to play, the news came out today. Emmanuel Sanders retires after 12 seasons in the NFL. Very, very good receiver, reliable. Multiple teams, including the Steelers and the Broncos, and he's spent some time, obviously, in Buffalo and I think San Fran in the previous years here. Um,
New Orleans
Oh, there
was
was that one year in New Orleans. That was
yeah,
funky. I
New
forgot about
Orleans
all
and
that.
Buffalo. Yep.
Very, very good player. Again, it's another piece of our childhood eroding away a little bit here, Cox, which is one of the reasons why I bring it up. I think he was a great player. I wanted to give him his flowers, let him know that, cheers to a good career. Here's to that. I'm going to ask the question because I feel like whenever anybody of even relative note retires, it warrants the question, whether justified or not. Is he a Hall of Famer?
I don't think so. He just doesn't have enough stats um to even kind of warrant too much discussion. I mean, not 10,000 yards. I mean, he went to the Pro Bowl what, twice?
Two-time Pro Bowler,
Um,
51 touchdowns receiving.
yeah, and I mean, he only had 3 years of over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
Um, so I just don't think there's enough stat accumulation. Now, don't get me wrong. That's not to say that he wasn't part of like big moments. I mean that Super Bowl run, with Denver was a really fun team, and he was a huge part of that. But it just the overall longevity of his career and what he's compiled and done in the league in that time just doesn't warrant enough for me. I don't know if you feel a similar way.
No, again, I'd put him in. I think we talked about this a little bit off screen, but I'd put him in the
Mm,
Hall of Good to very good. Very good player of his era.
yep.
Contributed where necessary, but like, when was he ever the guy? You know what I mean? Is
Right.
another like
Right.
argument to be made. Like, he was
He was
either
always a piece.
he was always a piece, and he's a good piece. He's one of the
Oh
better
yeah.
pieces we've
Hmm.
seen in a long time. But like, I don't think it warrants Hall of Fame. I just wanted to give the man his flowers for a great career. But
Yeah.
the average NFL career is something like 3-4 years. Made a 12-year career out of being a reliable piece to a lot of very, very good teams. That's the other thing is if you're a
Yeah.
contributor on a high level team, you're doing something right. And he was
Yeah.
always that.
Exactly.
Even late into
Exactly.
his career, he was a contributor for these Bills that are now
Hmm.
emergent. Everybody's jacking off. They think they're going to win the fucking whole thing, before a game's even played. We'll get to that when we cover the Thursday game. But he was always a contributor on a relevant team. And I think that's a testament to A, his work ethic, B, his ability. I wanted to hand this man his flowers, which is why we wanted to talk about it here today. But to stick with the Bills in a funky little way, um, the third piece of news I want to talk about with you is Dawson Knox. He very recently, as of today as well, signed a 4-year, $53.6 million contract extension with the Bills that keeps
Yep.
him there through 2026. The I guess my cliff notes before I even hand it off to you, I'll get into it after you talk about it a little bit. But they clearly have plans for him. They clearly like him. That's just an objective fact. That's a big money deal. I don't know
Yep.
where that ranks him in terms of tight end contracts and stuff, and I'm sure based off what I'm seeing you look at, you might be pulling it up and things like that. But I wanted to get your opinion on this deal for this team specifically that everybody loves right now and is very high on. Do you think this is a lockdown of a key piece for the future, or do you think this was a weird thing? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I think it's a good ad. He's 25. So I mean, it's gonna be his prime years to have him under contract. I mean, last year was kind of like the big year, so you could make the argument that you're kind of putting a lot of faith in really just one breakout year. Um, but also, to be honest, the tight end like field is kind of um, shallow. It's a shallow pool kind of at this
Mm-hmm.
point for any real good tight ends. And Dawson Knox can catch the ball, so he does provide that dynamic, option in their passing game. Um, but I mean, 4 years, that amount of money, I like the deal. Um, but I'm just trying to, you can talk about it real quick, but I'm trying to pull up like exactly where that ranks.
Yeah, if you find it, let me know because I would be very curious.
Yeah.
But the math in my brain goes out to just under like 15 mil a year, probably like 13, 14. No, not even, probably like 12, 13 a year. No, it's got to be 13 or 14. A year for the next 4 years. Again, the tight end talent pool, I think there's like 3 or 4 huge guys that we all know about. And then there's like the second tier. But in that sense, Knox maybe leads that second tier in terms of guys.
Right.
And especially with the offense as dynamic as it is. I guess the question mark comes from like there's a lot of mouths to feed. Well, not a lot, I guess, but like semi a lot if you think Gabe Davis is going to be as breakout as he was previously for the Bills, and Stefan's there. But Stefan will always get his work, and depending on how they use their running backs. I'm high on Dawson Knox. I like him as a tight end, and I like him as like an up and comer for sure. Um, I think with this deal, they clearly like to me this is almost a tell that they're going to use him more in the offense. Cuz like
Right.
why would you shell out that money? Like they have some
Exactly.
stuff going on. He might be poised. I mean, he had a breakout last year, but he might be poised for an even bigger role
That's
this
true.
year. And
That's
I think
true.
that's exciting. I like him as a player. For me it was the eye test. I watched a lot of I mean, I always watch a lot of football, but he always popped off the screen for me when like the plays even now like in my head a lot of the plays from last year that I remember are like not like maybe circus, but a lot of like very good, efficient Dawson Knox plays for touchdowns or whatever. I don't know. I think he only scored maybe like 7 or 8 touchdowns. I don't know exactly, but I remember almost all of them in my brain from seeing it on film. Which like
Yeah.
there must be something there in terms of that. I'm sure you'll correct me on all of this, and if you have that information, feel free
Well,
to
so
hop in.
last year he got 9 touchdowns. So he did get a decent amount of touchdowns. I mean, he had 587 yards, average of 12 yards per. So it was a good year last year. So I mean, like I said, I agree. The contract's good. He's a good piece. He is the top of that B bracket of tight ends. This contract puts him sixth overall in tight end contracts. And would you like to guess the five who are above him?
I think I could.
Okay,
I think I
let's
could.
give it a shot.
Here
Okay,
we go. Here's my guessing game. Kelsey,
okay. Yes,
Kittle,
yes.
Waller.
No,
Ooh, okay. Andrews.
yes.
So I'm still missing two.
You're missing two.
Evan Ingram.
No.
Oh, I thought he got a big deal. I'm missing two. This is very interesting to me. Um, Njoku got a big deal, right?
Yes, David Njoku.
Ah, and there's one more. There's one more. I can do
That's
it.
correct.
Hawkinson.
Nope.
Ooh, give me one more guess. I think it's fair to give me one
Okay.
more,
One
and
more. Yep.
because there's like a whole tier of bullshit. Zach Ertz.
No, the guy who replaced him in Philadelphia, Dallas Goddard.
Oh, Goddard. Okay, I knew it was one of those two guys. I went
Yep.
with. I was pretty good.
That was pretty good. Yeah, you did pretty good there.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
No, I'm impressed.
So it still puts him
Yeah,
at 6. I think that's
correct.
fair. Um.
Yep, at about 13.4 per.
Oh, okay. So I was like I was in the ballpark. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you were good.
It's all good. I think they're gonna. I think we could see more from him, and like in my heart, I
Oh
low
yeah.
key hope we see more from him because I have him in at least one fantasy league, if not more, as my tight end.
Fair.
So like, go
Yeah,
Dawson Knox.
yep,
I'm a
that
big
is
fan. I'm
totally
rallying around him. Good on him. I think he will. I think that deal indicates that they have faith in him and they want to use him more. So that's what we're gonna go with. I think. I don't know if you have
100%
anything
agree.
else to add, but we can boogie on.
Nope, we can boogie on.
Lovely, lovely. The last thing we want to talk about today, because the game is tomorrow or likely today, if you're watching this when you're watching this, we got the Bills and the Rams. First game of the season. Um, Everybody loves the Bills this year in the
I'm gonna let you go
offseason.
off on this. You
This,
can you can just go.
I mean, they're the offseason darlings. Like huge Super Bowl favorites. And it's what's semi odd to me is a lot of people aren't even like rating the Rams, even though they're defending Super Bowl champs. Um, so for me, it's very interesting. I love the matchup. I think this is a great game one of the year. I think there could be a lot of explosivity, low key on both sides of the ball. I think it'd be a very cool opening game. I'm very excited to see it. I don't want to get in too much to analysis or whatever, but I think as an overview, it's a very good opening game. I do want to hear what you have to say first, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, it is a very, very good opening game. Um, I mean, this was kind of the Super Bowl that everyone expected, or some people expected to see last year.
A lot of people.
Um, so it's an absolutely amazing first game on Thursday Night Football. Um, and it's going to be really interesting to see what Josh Allen does with a new offensive coordinator. Like, what does that look like? Does that offense look similar, or Is it completely different? I can't imagine they would go stray too far from what's been working. Um, and it's going to be interesting just to see how all of these pieces move together under a new system. But with with the Rams, it's let's get back to it. Like let's start the title defense. Um, at home, big opponent coming in. You've got to start strong. This kind of a win right away sends that kind of a message. You know, your darling favorites that are coming to our house, we're gonna beat the shit out of them, and we're gonna take it to them,
Yep.
and that sends a message to the league. So it's big game already has big connotations. It's a great way to start.
Yeah. Absolutely. Do you want to give your pick yet, or do you want to hear what I have to say first? What way do we want to do
No,
this?
please, I want to hear what you have to say.
So again, I fully agree. It's a huge game. I think both teams, even if it is by smaller measures, depending on your perspective, got better. I think for me, in terms of the game, the biggest X factors are additions slash recoveries on the Rams side. I think is Cam Akers healthy? He had
Mhm.
an interview today where he says he's all good and he's going to show everybody that he is fine and he's very excited for the game tomorrow. So I think the X factor is him, and I guess to a lesser extent Darrell Henderson if he spells him in
Right.
that role, and the addition of Allen Robinson. I've
Yep.
heard he has been a monster in camp. I've
Yeah.
heard he's been very good and he's fit in very well. So
He's
that
chopping.
additional weapon, replacing that OBJ in a lot of ways, and seeing how that slots in. Those are the two biggest things for me in terms of the Rams. I guess the X factor again. I think almost as always, the last like year and a half, 2 years for the Bills is their running game.
Yeah.
Singletary, Moss. They have somebody else too. I think that I can't
Zach
remember.
Cook is the new rookie. I
Yeah,
believe is his
there's like
name.
there's so much funkiness always in the Bills backfield that like they're always somewhat of an X factor. So I think the running games, especially with these teams that like to air it out, that are clearly dynamic in those ways, especially Josh Allen with his
Yep.
feet. I don't think to any extent that a loss is a death knell for either of these teams. These
No.
are two high
No.
level
No. No.
teams going at it.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I think I'm gonna go the Rams here because the
Okay.
defending Super Bowl champions. I think they have a better defensive front,
Yes.
but that is somewhat mitigated by the fact that I still love the Bills secondary a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So it really depends again on that side of the ball. I think defense wins games and defense wins championships. And when you have Aaron Donald, you have to. I will pick with Aaron Donald far more often than I will pick against him.
Which is fair.
And when for me
Fair.
this is kind of a coin flip, I'm gonna go with the guy who I'm gonna go with the team who has the generational guy in the middle.
That's fair.
That's that's where I'm at. So my official lock-in pick for our little predictions that we do every year, I'm picking the Rams, but I'm not insanely confident.
Fair. That's fair. I might surprise you. I know how much I wax lyrical about, Josh Allen and the Bills. I think this is one of those games where they're gonna have to figure some shit out on the fly, and it's not always gonna work, and it's gonna be in those fine details that they're gonna lose the game. It's gonna be a really close one, just because I think a new coordinator coming in is gonna play a role. I'm very interested to see what that does with Allen. Um, and I think they're going to still have to learn a little bit. So this is a big game. The Rams do have, I feel like, a better defense overall. So I'm going to also pick the Rams. Um, and are we doing scores?
Oh, we
No,
can. I just like I just
no,
didn't.
we don't have to.
They're more flavorful than
That's fair.
anything. Um
But
again,
yeah, no.
all
Oh,
right,
sorry.
we're
Go
just both gonna pause. I just wanted to piggyback off that because you made a very salient point that I
ahead.
was kind of thinking of but didn't say. But I will also take Sean McVay and his experience in games and
Yep.
in keeping his team tight over
Right.
kind of the not turmoil but the shifting in
Right.
terms of coordination and coaching that happened in the Bills this offseason. So like those are the things I'm not doing the sexy pick and picking the Bills. I'm sure a lot of people who maybe are, do sports betting content or whatever, like The Bills are the ones you want here. This is where you slam the over and you take the Bills, and that's how you make your money. Me, I'm like SpongeBob with his jellyfishing net. I'm breaking out all reliable, and I'm going to go with the Rams here.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you
I
100%.
just think it comes down to like they've been there before. They clearly have a bigger
Yeah,
pedigree,
no, 100%.
and with the movement, I don't think it'll be like a horrific start for the Bills, but there will be those growing pain games, and they just happen to be the ones drawn into this.
I expect I expect Buffalo to get the ball to start, and I expect Aaron Donald to get a sack in the first series and just really kick. Like they're going to be so amped, with the banner and everything and doing all that.
You want to put a shot
Like
on it?
on that exact thing happening.
Yes.
Sure, why not?
This is fun. We're
Why
back,
not?
baby. First
Yeah,
shot take of the
why not?
season. You saw it
Nice.
here first. Jay and Mario, who are not with us tonight, he has taken the first shot take. We will hold him to it. But no, if that's all you got to say, I
Very
think we're
specific one.
if that's all you got to say, I think we're good to wrap up here. Um,
Yeah.
in terms of viewers, I hope you guys enjoy this little abridged version. It's a little more news headlines and analysis of the Thursday game. But football's back, baby. We wanted to give you something to A, kind of, celebrate that, but B, to condense our content a little bit more and maybe not make it so rambly. So there's less. I mean, we still probably have one big video a week, but we want to give you guys more content, more condensed things, give you some more digestible things. So if you like it, please leave a like on YouTube. If you like it, if you're hearing it in audio place, rate it 5 stars or like it or whatever you do in those audio channels. We would love it. It helps us grow, and we appreciate you all so, so greatly. And for this weekend and for always, we are rooting for your team. Unless they're playing our team, then we hope they lose. But we all hope you have a lovely day, and we will see you later.